Sometimes we know something is bad for us, but for whatever reason, it's just really hard to stop. We make up excuses and we procrastinate, just hoping that the conviction will go away. Most of us are on social media every single day, and that's not a bad thing. Social media is not bad in and of itself. But if God has convicted you about the way you're using it, the amount of time you spend on it, or the things that you have seen while you're on the platform, then this video is for you. And I know what it's like. God convicts you of something, and He tells you that it's wrong, and then all of a sudden in your mind, there's a million excuses, right? Excuses like, well, but I also use this thing for good reasons. Maybe I have a business and I need social media so that I can get more clients for my business. Or maybe I need social media to keep up with my family members. Or maybe I also learn a lot of good things on social media in addition to all the sinful and distracting things that I partake in on it. But I want to remind you that nothing could be more important than you just obeying God. And believe me, whatever reasons you have for needing to use social media, God can more than make up for. You don't think that the God who parted the Red Sea can help you get some clients if you don't have social media for your business. You don't think that God will provide another way if you honor Him by doing what He's commanded you to do. You don't think that He'll make the math work in your favor. He did it with the 5 loaves and 2 fish. He can do it with your obedience too. Another reason that people have a hard time quitting social media is because it's weird and awkward. It's weird to tell your friends, I don't have Instagram on my phone. They automatically assume, oh, well, what kind of problem's going on? Or, oh, I wonder what they did on social media, or whatever they might assume. But again, what is more valuable to you? Are you really ready to draw near to God? Are you really ready to give up sin? Because if you're not willing to take this first step, something as easy as deleting an app on your phone, maybe you don't really want to be made whole. And one of the biggest lies that people tell themselves when it comes to removing social media or any kind of distraction like that, they say this. They say, that's not the real problem. That's just a symptom. So I need to address the real problem. Does that sound familiar? Let's just take lust for an example, not looking at anybody, not pointing any fingers, but let's just take lust for an example. If social media causes you to fall into lust, it's very easy for you to say, social media is not the real problem, it's lust that's the real problem. But let me ask you this question. What's easier to do? Fight something spiritual or fight something physical? Have you ever thought, man, it would be so easy if lust or envy or greed were just something physical that I could take care of, but because it's internal, because it's in me and it's spiritual, it's so hard to overcome. Well, guess what? Here's something physical that you can fight. Sometimes, even though social media may not be the root cause of the problem, it's a start. It's something physical that you can do right now that you have absolute control over so that you create a little distance between you and your distractions, between you and your sin. And that's going to allow God then to address the real root issue and renew your mind. So what are the first steps that you're going to take? Well, if you're really ready to overcome whatever sin you're struggling with or get rid of these distractions that are keeping you from being the man God wants you to be, the first thing you need to do is get extreme. I'm not talking about just saying, well, I'm just not going to scroll on social media. I'll get on there and I'll check noties and whatever, but I won't scroll. Or maybe you'd say, well, I'm just not going to DM any more people. That's not good enough. You need to go many, many steps further than you originally thought you needed to go. So if you thought, oh, I'm just going to stop scrolling, maybe you need to delete the app. If you thought, oh, I'm just going to delete the app, maybe you need to delete the account. If you thought, oh, I'm just going to delete the account, maybe you need to cut off internet from your phone. Now, again, none of these things are the real problem, but that's not the point. Remember, we're just trying to create some separation between you and the thing that keeps bringing you down. And if you're not willing to do these simple little steps, maybe you're not ready to overcome this sin yet. Now, here's where it gets really important because you don't want to just stop there. You don't want to say, now for the rest of my life, I'm never going to use social media. For the rest of my life, I'm not going to have internet on my phone. Because what that's going to do is turn into legalism. Because remember, it isn't the real problem. And the Bible doesn't say that you need to remove internet from your phone. It doesn't say you can't use social media. All those things are wonderful. You just have a problem with it. So we can't let these rules and boundaries that we put in place for ourselves turn into legalism that we look down upon other people for not doing. The goal with all of these things is so that eventually someday you can reintroduce these things back into your life with a renewed vision and a renewed purpose. After you've allowed God some time to renew your mind and you've gotten your sin under control, download the app again, get the internet back on your phone. But this time, we're going to do it with a renewed purpose. This time, we're not going to get it just to be consumers. We're going to get on it to be producers. So if you used to use social media as kind of a coping mechanism and you would just look at it when you were tired, I want to challenge you to, after your time of abstinence, after your time of removing social media, when you do bring it back into your life, I want to challenge you to bring it back for the purpose of sharing what you've learned with other people. You download that app again, you get out your camera, and you make videos teaching other people to do the same thing, or on some other topic that's going to benefit people in a godly way. But you can't just bring the same old thing back into your life with the same old purpose, because you're going to end up using it to cope again. If you're going to reintroduce these things, which you should, it should be with a renewed purpose. And this applies to every single area of your life, not just social media. Let's go back to the lust example. For you guys who struggle with lust, maybe for a whole summer, you don't want to go to the gym, the beach, or the pool. Now, is that a long-term solution? Absolutely not. Someday you're going to get married and have kids, and you're going to go to the beach, by golly, because those kids want to go. And someday you may need to go to a gym. And what you don't want to do is be able to not handle yourself in those situations. You also don't want to be able to not handle yourself on a phone. The reason we're talking about these symptoms is because it's the first step. So maybe for you, you spend a whole summer not going to the gym, working out at home. You can do it. You don't need the fancy gear. You just need more discipline, and you can get the job done at home. Maybe you just don't go to the beach. Find other fun things to do. Yeah, it's going to be embarrassing. Yeah, it's going to be awkward. But what are you willing to do to get healed? And again, if you're not willing to do a simple physical thing like go somewhere else fun, like bowling, instead of go to the beach, are you really ready to overcome your sin? If you're not willing to delete one silly little app, are you really taking this seriously? And then, once you've had that whole summer of abstinence and you've allowed God to renew your heart, you can bring back in those old activities. You can bring back the social media, this time in a godly way and with a godly purpose. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe to see more of this kind of content. We'll see you guys next time.